A new Evercore ISI report says President-elect Trump's win last week is a signal of a realignment within the Republican Party and gives the president-elect a mandate to move more aggressively in Congress. Joining us now, Evercore ISI Chief Strategist of International Political Affairs and Public Policy, Sarah Bianchi. It's January 20th. It'll come fast, Sarah, but have you been surprised that there's some reshuffling already of the deck chair? Not only some companies, et cetera, but even countries. And the conflicts that are going on, we view them a little bit differently. He's not in the Oval Office yet, but it's almost like he's looming over the Oval Office already.
I think it's a really good point. There's a lot of countries and companies seeking to reposition themselves for this new Washington order. And as we wrote, even though we did give President Trump the slight edge to win the race, although we thought could go either way, I don't think anyone expected that he would win with quite this level of support throughout the country. And of course, he'll have the Senate. It looks like he'll most certainly have the House. And so some of the ideas like trade and other areas where I think they were thinking he would have to do things through executive action, now maybe the Congress has to look at some of these. So I think whether it's Republicans in Congress or leaders around the world, everybody is readjusting to this new Washington alignment.
I know trade is your thing, but we can't ignore what it means for Israel or what it means for Iran, what it means for China, geopolitically, what it means for Ukraine and Russia. Phone calls either were or weren't made between the President-elect Trump and Putin. It's possible that some things start happening before he does anything, even in the tariff environment. We may see certain countries be, nicer to the trading partners because they don't want anything, they don't want punitive action.
I think that's absolutely right. I was in Tokyo earlier in the fall, and they were talking about, wow, in the first Trump administration, President, Abe had such a good relationship, and that was so helpful, and how do we position ourselves? So I do think everybody is recalibrating, and you're right. There are international conflicts throughout the world. The president-elect is already obviously very involved talking to the Ukrainian president. I think he's going to look to try to settle out things. That was really the point he was making on the campaign trail is, if we're a little tougher, I'm going to get things under control. And I think he's going to want to show some early wins on that. Now, look, some of these conflicts are not easy, certainly Israel, Iran, and other things. But I think we're going to look for some places, at least, potentially Ukraine, where he can say, mission accomplished quite quickly. And that's, I think we are going to, like you said, that's already starting to happen.
What is the calculus for how far he goes with tariffs? Now we got to factor in that it doesn't necessarily have to be just, as you said, executive orders. He could probably get a lot of things through the Senate and the House. And what is that, as we also alluded to, does it mean maybe some of these tariffs don't have to go on if we see preemptive action by other countries?
Well, the advantage of doing the tariffs through the Congress is that they give you credit for a deficit offset. I think there is interest in the House and the House Republicans and the Ways and Means chairs looking at some of these. We'll have to see in the Senate. This is not the kind of policy that a John Thune, a Mitch McConnell, those guys are inclined to be supportive of. There's a lot of Republicans who share the same concerns about inflation and the like. But with this newfound authority, we do everything is on the table. I'm also interested, there was a lot of reports about Lighthizer. I think he will play a role in this administration, but I do believe the role is still being sorted out. And, he wants to make sure he's fully empowered. He's the one who knows his way around all of these trade authorities, whether it be executive or legislative. So watching to see exactly what seat he's in on this rocket ship will be important.
So you made a point. So tell me again, if it's actually put into law, it can be called deficit reducing, which would probably, that's something that they'd like to do. Does it take 60 in the Senate to do something big with tariffs?
So I think what they're going to do is do it as part of what they're going to try to do is do it as part of an offset for the tax bill. This whole tax, Washington's going to be all taxes in 2025. If they can legislate the tariff, they only will need the 50 votes as part of kind of reconciliation. And the Congressional Budget Office will then count that if it's as a, quote, a pay for, if you will, in the same way that a spending cut or a revenue raiser would be a pay for. Again, that's going to be a more difficult to do. But yes, like you said, it certainly appeals to folks who are worried about the size of this and how many new ideas President Trump wants to put into an already very, very large deficit adding bill.